Namaste and good afternoon, everybody. Today, our topic is voice. I am going to teach you voice. This means you are going to be taught voice by me. So, voice is an important grammar topic in our for your exam also or in our studies. Especially, this topic is important in grammar. It's because it is not only that it is asked in the exam for 1.5 marks. There will be two types of questions from this topic, voice. 1 mark, one question will be from first type of grammar, and one question will be from the second type. Now, as this is important topic, let's talk about voice. You might be wondering what voice is. So, I have written on the board, look at this. Voice is of two types in English. In Nepali grammar also, in Nepali Vyakaran, we study it as Kartrivachya, Karmavachya and Bhavvachya. In English, we have active and passive voice. Let's talk about what voice is first. Voice is the term used to describe or used to talk about the relation of the verb with the subject. It means in active voice sentence, the verb is said to be in active voice. In passive voice sentence, the verb is said to be in passive voice. So, voice is all about verb or the relation of verb with its subject. This means if the subject is the person or thing as a performer or performing itself or himself, herself, you can say, if the performer is the subject, means if the subject is acting, this is active voice. If the subject is not acting but is acted upon, or it means if the subject experiences the effect of the action, effect of the verb, then we call it passive voice. So, look at the example here. In first example, Anu teaches girls. Here, teaches is verb. So, who teaches? It is Anu. Anu teaches girls. It means Anu is the performer, Anu is the doer, Anu is the actor. So, Anu is active in this sentence, and that's why it is active voice. But in passive voice, look at this. Girls are taught by Anu. Girls are taught by Anu. It means taught. Girls are not teaching themselves. Girls are being taught means girls are taught. Anu is teaching in the second sentence too. So both sentences have the similar meaning, have same meaning. But what we understand is girls here is passive. Girls means here are taught is passive voice. Girls are acted upon. Girls are taught, not girls are teaching themselves. And that's why it is passive. Generally in English, we use passive voice to bring variety, sentence variety. And not only that, when we have the idea of using passive voice, then we can bring a kind of coherence, a kind of flow, or a kind of beauty, or it means our writing becomes interesting if we use passive voice. To break the monotony of using active voice, only giving focus on the subject, only giving focus on the actor or performer is somehow boring. And that's why to bring the variety also we use passive voice. Now after this, okay, in English, generally, we have some basic rules how to change it into passive voice. Look at this, basic rules. So, how we change it is, let me give one example. One example is, okay, the boy sang a song. Let me put it here. Now, in this sentence, you can say The boy sang a song means who sang? The boy sang. The boy sang means the relation between the verb and the subject is active. That's why it's active voice. Now, how we change it into passive voice is, first of all, we have to find out the SVO, means subject, verb, object. In English, the sentence construction is like this. The boy is the performer, it is subject, and this is verb. Let me write here. Yes for subject, V for verb, and a song for object. So O. Now, the passive, how we make it passive is, we have found it. Second thing we have to do is convert object into subject. I mean, this is object, so a song is written at the beginning. So this is the first process. Then use suitable helping verbs with subject. This means be verbs. We must use one be verb here according to the tense, according to the verb. Sang is in past tense. Sing, sang. Sang is in past tense, second form of the verb. So for past tense we use was or were, and so a song is singular subject. With this we use was. A song was. Now convert the main verb into the past participle. This means verb 3. Past participle form, verb 3 form. The third form of the verb is sang, song. S-U-N-G, sung. Now next we have to do is convert the main verb into past participle. Done. Use preposition. By, we use by. If you want to mention the subject in a passive sentence, means in all the cases, in all situations, we don't use the subject after by. We just, in some sentences we do. So we write by, then the subject is written, or subject is written as an agent, the boy. We can, some people call it object, but it's not exactly object, but it's agent. We convert it into agent by using by preposition. So this is how we change. Now, whether these rules apply in all the cases or not, let's check out from some other tenses, other sentences of different tenses. I have got one chart here. Let me show you first. Okay. Here, passive of different tenses. We will see examples, different examples of different tenses, how they are changed into passive voice. You might know about tenses. There are 12 tenses. Out of 12 tenses, we change, or we can change only 8 tenses into passive voice. So here in the chart, just look at these. Simple present, structure is given there. Simple present, simple past, simple future, present continuous, past continuous, present perfect, past perfect, future perfect. So what tenses are missing? You might be wondering about. The missing tenses are present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, and future perfect continuous, and one more, future continuous as well. So 4 tenses are missing because they are not commonly used in English, and that's why we say no change for them. We don't change those 4 tenses. And let's check simple present. The structure is there and there. Subject plus present means verb 1 or verb 5 plus object. So in active voice sentence, one example, Ram eats rice. Eats, this is singular verb. This means verb 5. So the same process I showed you, this works here. Find the SVO. Object is brought to the position of subject. Subject is brought to the position of object. Or we say we interchange, we exchange subject and object. This applies in all the sentences. Don't worry about that. Subject is brought to the position of subject, used at the beginning. Object is brought to the position of subject, that is in the beginning. Look at this, rice. Ram subject, its verb, rice object. So rice is used in the beginning, rice with capital letter, because it is the first letter of the sentence. So rice, its. Now let me write the rule of be verb. Be verb, different forms according to tenses, like if there is verb 1 or verb 5, we use is, am, or are plus verb 3. If there is verb 2 or past tense, we use be verb, was or were plus verb 3. And if there is verb 3 itself, we write been plus verb 3. This is only in shortcut way. And if there is verb 4 or ing form of the verb, we write being plus verb 4. Look at this. There might be subject, or here might be has, have, or had. Then there is verb 3. Being plus verb 3. Sorry. So, in all passive voice sentences, we must use past participle form of verb, that is verb 3, or third form of the verb. Now, only the tension for us is of this, how we use be verb. If there is present tense, we use is, am, are. Is or are depends on the subject, means the object that is brought to the position of subject. Just like rice is brought to the position of the subject, rice is singular, so we write is. If in place of rice, if there was a plural subject, then we could write are. And if there is I as a subject, then we use am. So rice is, and the rule is always there in passive voice. Don't worry. The verb must be in past participle form, that is verb 3. So eaten. Rice is eaten, and by plus agent or by plus subject is always there. So I have not written here what is subject or what is object. Just this is the common rule. It applies in every sentence. You can check it out here in the examples everywhere. Okay. Now this is present tense. Simple past tense means verb 2, past tense. In past tense also we have the same process we have to follow, just like rice object comes in the position of subject, rice. Ate is in past tense, so we write was plus, look at this. Past tense, verb 2 means was, were. This is how we change be verb according to the forms of the verbs, according to the tenses. So, was eaten, it is passive voice. By Ram, by and this subject is brought to the position of object. This works everywhere. Now third, simple future tense also the same way. Ram, future tense means here simple future. Ram will eat. There might be will or shall plus verb 1. So we write Ram will eat rice. And passive voice, the same rule applies here too. Rice, object is brought to the position of subject, rice. Will eat becomes will be eaten. Let me write one more thing here. Will, can, may, or we can say some other modal auxiliaries like may, might, can, could, all. There might be shall also, might, could, plus verb 1. If this kind of structure comes, we use these modal auxiliaries or these auxiliary verbs first, the same which we have, like if there is will, use will. If there is can, use can, the same. Plus, in place of verb 1 after modal auxiliary verbs like these, we use be plus verb 3. This rule applies here. Look at this. Will eat, so will be eaten. Will be eaten by Ram. This is how we do. Now comes here present continuous. Ram is eating rice. It means is MR plus verb 4. This is in active voice. Ram is eating. The subject is here, Ram, and he is the performer. So Ram is eating rice. Same process applies. Rice in the beginning. And is, if there are auxiliary verbs or modal auxiliary verbs, any of this sort, like is, am, are, was, were, these are auxiliary verbs, has, have, had, or can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would. If such words are there, auxiliaries are there, use the same first. Rice is. But sometimes is can be are also. It depends on the object that is brought to the position of subject. If it is singular, use is. If it is plural, use are. I have already told you. So, rice is, there is verb form, ing form. Let's see, if there is ing form, use being plus verb 3. So, we use being eaten, where is it? Yes, being eaten by Ram. So, by Ram is everywhere, don't worry. Past continuous tense, same, no difference. Was is there, was, rice was. Verb 4 is there, use being. And there is, again, verb 3 by Ram. There must be verb 3, don't worry about this. Next, present perfect. The structure is subject plus has have plus verb 3, means past participle plus object. Ram has eaten rice. This means in passive voice, object, okay, this object rice, used in the beginning. Rice, if there is has, you can use has. Sometimes has can be have. It depends on whether it is singular or plural. If singular subject, use has. If plural subject, use have. Rice has, the same auxiliary verb works here. So Ram has. In place of verb 3, look at this. If there is verb 3, we use been plus verb 3. Been. Use been. Don't worry. This is the rule. Been. And again, verb 3 we need eaten and by Ram. Let's check out in the next tense, past perfect tense. Subject plus had plus past participle plus object. The sentence is Ram had eaten rice. Had eaten is past perfect. Now, passive voice. Like we did in the past sentences, rice is brought to the position of subject, rice. And had is there. We use the same, had. And been. Been, why? Because there is verb 3, like this. There is verb 3, so we use been. Again, there is verb 3, we use been. And according to the rule, in passive voice, we always use the verb in whatever form into verb 3, past participle. Eaten and by Ram is again the same rule. Now, the last here, future perfect. Future perfect means subject plus shall will plus have plus past participle, verb 3 plus object. So look at the example. Ram will have eaten rice. Will have eaten. Rice. Let's exchange the subject and object. Rice in the beginning. Then will have, the same auxiliary works here. Same, will have. There is verb 3, then as per the rule we use been. Been, then there is verb 3, same verb 3 we write, and then by plus agent or by plus subject. We make it subject. We use it as object. Now, not only this, these are all about 8 tenses we have. There are altogether 12 tenses. So, only 8 tenses can be changed into passive voice. After this, let me put it off and then use another chart for you, because there can be some other types of sentences, say variety of structures in English. Not only 8 tenses, there are some other structures in English that can be changed into passive voice. Look at this. I guess you can see it well. The passive voice of other structures, like using infinitive forms, or say when there is verb 1 after modals, or when there is 2 plus verb 1. So these are the rules. Modals means here, in the bracket I have written it, can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would. There can be some varieties of modals, modal verbs. Modal verbs plus verb 1. If this is the structure in active voice, how we change it into passive? This is our focus here. Active voice, like this structure, I as subject, can as modal verb, then verb 1, do, and it object. I can do it. I can do it is the active voice sentence. Now in passive voice, okay, in passive voice, it can be. First of all, how we change it into passive is we have to find out SVO, subject, verb, object. I is subject, can, modal auxiliary verb, do, main verb, then object. It is not difficult to find out object because an object always follows the verb. Right after the verb we can see object. So it is object, it is brought to the position of subject. It is made a subject. So it in the beginning, it. Can is modal auxiliary verb, use the same, can. If there is can plus verb 1, this rule applies here, can, then we use be plus verb 3. Look at this, be and then do verb 3, done. Do, did, done. Done is verb 3. And as per the rule, we use by, preposition by, then I is changed into me in subjective case. Talking about pronouns, you know, if nouns are the subject, no change, the same noun can be used. If pronouns are the subject, we have some other rules like this. Very quickly, let me tell you about that. And in reported speech also, you might have done this. In subjective case, in objective case, pronoun. Subjective case, if there is I, we use me in object. If there is we use us in object. If there is you, in subjective case, as subject, in objective case, we use you, same. And if there is he, in objective case, him. If there is she, in objective case, her. And if there is they, we use them. And if there is who, we use it whom. It comes in who question. There is another pronoun also. It is there, it, it, but it is the same. It, no change. So this is general rule of pronoun change because we are exchanging the place of subject and object. Here comes second example. Be going to. Be verb means here is, am, are. You might have already known it. I subject, going to future. This is called going to future tense also. I subject, I am going to do it. Let's check it out. I, be verb, am, going to is there, going to, and do is verb 1. And then if there is verb 1 after 2, we use be plus verb 3. Let's see. Again, this it, the object, comes to the position of subject. It, and in place of am, we write is because it is singular. With it, we use is. With only I, we use am. So with it, a singular pronoun, we use is. Going to same, because this is going to future and there must be going to in passive or active, in both. Going to, and to make it passive verb, we use be plus verb 3. For 2 plus verb 1, we write 2 plus be plus verb 3. So this is be plus verb 3. It means if there is 2 plus verb 1, we write 2 plus be plus verb 3. Keep in mind. In every type of sentence, whenever there is 2, look at this. This sentence also has 2. This sentence also has 2, and there is also 2. Whenever there is 2 plus verb 1, after all these 2, we write be plus verb 3. So it is going to be do verb 3 done. Do it done by me. Same. Be 2 plus verb 1. Be plus 2 plus verb 1. This is in this structure. Sometimes there are sentences. I am to do it. He is to do it. She is to do it. She is to play football. He is to play football, like this. We write the same. It comes as a subject. Then in place of am there is to the same 2. And in place of verb 1 we use be plus verb 3. Be done. Then by me. Are you getting bored? Okay. Let's see some more examples. Uh, Next one is have to, has to, or had to. Has to, have to, and had to. They are different only in terms of tenses. I have to do it. I had to do it. If there is has or have or had to, then we have this kind of rule. We use same has to or have to or had to here after we use object into the person of subject. It, and there is have to, but it has changed into has to. Why? Because with I we use plural verb, but with it we use singular verb. That's why have to is changed into has to. But there is no difference in tense, no change. Same tense. It has to, then there is verb 1, so in place of verb 1 we write be plus verb 3, be done by me. You can see another example, I used to do it. This is used to, talking about past habitual action. I used to do it. Again, the same process applies here. It, object is brought to the person of subject, then used to, the same used to, in place of verb 1 here is be plus verb 3, then by me. I is changed into me. I is changed into me. Now, next structure, modal verbs plus have plus verb 3. Sometimes this kind of structure is there in English, but only sometimes used, not so frequent. So I could have done. Modal verbs means could, would, shall, should, may, might, can, could. Just I told you just before. I could, then there is have plus verb 3. If this structure is there, I could have done it, then the same process like this. It, subject is brought to the, object is brought to the person of subject. It, then could have, same. Auxiliary verbs, no change. So could have, same. Could have, then there is verb 3. And just before I told you, if there is verb 3, we use been plus verb 3. In place of verb 3, we use been. In place of verb 4, we use being. So there is been plus verb 3, and then by plus subject. So next, here the last but not the least. And after this, we will come to other chart. Subject plus generally not want. Subject plus like, love, enjoy, hate, or dislike, or loathe. There can be some other, prefer. These are the verbs of likes and dislikes. If subject plus such likes or dislikes words are there, plus there might be this dot means here, there might be like people or like somebody, it is agent or it is subject, plus gerund plus object. Gerund means verb 4. Gerund is verb 4. Look at the structure. From the structure also you know it. I as subject. Love. Look at it. I like, I love, I enjoy, I hate. You can use any word. I love. Then there is somebody as subject. I love somebody. Then there is gerund means verb 4. Helping. I love somebody helping me. So the passive. How do you change it into passive? This me. I love, same. Because me object is brought to the person of subject. Me becomes I. Look at this. Me becomes I. So this me is already I there. We don't have to write double I's. So this is I, love. Now the structure, the rule is we write after this love or this structure, these verbs like this. We use being plus verb 4, because there is verb 4. In place of verb 4, we use being. So being plus verb 3. We write being plus verb 3. So I love being helped. Sometimes, let me very quickly give one example, one more. Sometimes this type of structure has a sentence like this. I like people. I like people taking my photographs. Okay, look at this structure. Again, there is I subject, like verb, then subject is there, people, and gerund is there, taking verb 4, and my photographs object. If there is me as object, it is changed into I. The same I works here. but here, my photographs, not me, but my photographs. This time, we write like this. I like, same. Then, what we do is, not being, I like, not being, we use having. If there is object other than me, if there is object other than me, we use having, then we write object my photographs, and then main verb, verb 3, taken. Take, took, taken. So this is, I like having my photographs taken. This is how we change. We talked about different structures here. Now, not only assertive types of sentences we have to change, we have to change according to the sentences also. Let me put it here. I have got one more. Very quickly we have to discuss here. The passive of different sentences. Up to now we just talked about assertive type sentences belonging to different tenses. Now, not only assertive type is here, the first type given here, we just did it. For example, subject verb object pattern sentences. Ambika closes the door. This type of sentence we just did. The door object, Ambika subject, closes verb. Look at this, the door is made subject, the door. Then there is present tense. So we write is, the door is. Closes is changing into verb 3, closed by, then Ambika is used. The door is closed by Ambika. This is just easy. Now, if there is negative sentence, what to do then? He does not speak English. Suppose this is negative in present tense. He does not speak English. What is object? The object is English. So English is brought to the person of subject, English. And does is present tense. Do and does, present, did, past tense. So for present we write English is. It is negative sentence, so right after is we write not. After auxiliary verb we use not. English is not. Now the same rule applies. Speak, verb 3, spoken. So spoken, and by he becomes him. He becomes him in object. So that's quite easy, I think. You might have understood it. Now interrogative type of sentences, questions. For questions, there are two types of questions, yes/no questions and WS questions. In yes/no questions, the question begins from auxiliary verbs, or if the question, I have given two examples here, you can quickly look at this. The question that has begun from does, do, does, or did. For such type of question, we use be verb like this. If there is do or does, we use is, am, are. If there is did in the beginning, we use was or were. Now, which one we use, is or are, depends on what object is there. That is to be brought in the position of subject. So, in this question, does Ram repair the roof? This is a question, yes, no question. Does Ram repair the roof? Ram is subject, repair verb, the roof object. So we have to bring the object in the beginning, means in the position of subject. That's why we use is with the roof. Why is? Because there is present tense. Is, then object, the roof, then repair, verb 3, repair, by, Ram is agent, and question mark. We are not writing answer here. We are changing the question into question. Active question into a passive question. Okay, second type of question, yes/no questions that begin from auxiliary verbs, generally like can, could, may, might, shall, should, is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had. If questions begin from such auxiliaries, we use the same auxiliary verb, can, same. Can he write a letter? Can, now object, what is object? After write, or later. Can or later, bring a later in the beginning, means in the position of subject. Can or later, and there is verb 1, If there is verb 1 after can, could, may, might or modal auxiliary verbs, we use be plus verb 3. We have just talked about that. So we write be plus verb 3, be written, write verb 3 written. Again, by he is changed into him. For yes no question, this is the rule. And now for WS questions like this, I have given 2 examples here also, because there are 2 types of WS questions. Generally in passive voice we have to do this. In this, for when question, like when, which, what or why, in any type of WS question like this, when does Lakshmi clean the room? There is WS word. For a while forget this question word. Does Lakshmi clean the room? This looks like yes no question now. So what you have to do is follow the same rule like in the yes no question. Use the same word. If there is what, use what. If there is when, use when. Then after this follow the same rule of yes no question. If there is does, this is present tense, so we write either is or am or are. It depends on what object is there. The room is the object, so for the room we use is, because the room is singular. When is the room, then clean becomes cleaned, verb 3. And then by agent, by Lakshmi. The subject Lakshmi is brought after by. But all questions follow the same rule except for who question. For who question, we write by whom. Who killed the tiger? Who is changed into by whom? Killed is in past tense, verb 2. So we use was, were plus verb 3. So the tiger is singular. So we write was. By whom was the tiger? Then verb 3, killed. You can follow this. For imperative sentences, generally there are different types of imperatives. Imperative sentences generally begin from verbs, means they always begin from verb, main verb, verb 1, that is. Just like first type of examples, look at this. Close the door, do not close the door. Negative and positive, that's all. This type of sentence is generally, we call it command or order. For such kind of command or order, means आदेशात्मक वाक्य नेपालीमा भन्दा आदेश, just like close the door, close the window, open the door, open the window, such kind of sentences, if that gives the sense of command or order, we have this rule. We use let in the beginning, let, then we use object. These sentences generally have verb and object pattern. Verb is there and object is there. For verb and object pattern sentences, especially for command and order, we use let in the beginning, let plus we write object, then we write be plus verb 3. Look at this. Let, the door, object, the door, object, then be plus verb 3. Be, and close becomes closed. So we like this we do. Do not close the door. If the sentence is negative, what to do then? If the sentence is negative, this not is used right after the subject or after before be plus verb 3. This is the position, not. Let the door, like the previous sentence, let the door not then be closed, because it is negative. Now for imperative sentence, next type of imperative sentence beginning from please or kindly. The 2 words please or kindly, they are request words. So for request type of sentences, look at it. Please write a letter. You are requested to write a letter. You must use you are requested to plus verb 1. You are requested to write a letter. Second example also same. Kindly open the door. You are requested to open the door. Now other type of imperatives like obey your parents, help the poor. These sentences also look like the first ones, but they are not command or order, they are simply duties. यसले हाम्रो कर्तव्य जनाउँछ अरे, कर्तव्य बोध. Obey your parents. So we use obey your parents. बुवा आमालाई मान्नु पर्ने, आदर गर्नु पर्ने. यो के हो? हाम्रो कर्तव्य हो. So we use your parents means object is brought to the position of subject. Your parents, and should be, we use always should be plus verb 3. Your parents means object is brought to the position of subject, then should be plus verb 3, should be obeyed. Second sentence also, help the poor. The poor should be helped. Don't forget, should be plus verb 3. Sometimes in place of should be we can use must be also. Must be. The poor must be helped. If the sentence itself begins from let, what to do then? No confusion. Later close the door. Let, first object, verb, second object. If this type of sentence is there, we begin in passive voice also, we use let in the beginning, same, let, but we exchange the place of objects, object 1 and object 2. So after let we write object 2 first. So let, or is first object, the door is second object. First we use second object, let the door, then there is be plus verb 3 again, same. In all imperatives we use be plus verb 3, except for should, should be, here is also be plus verb 3, no worry. So the door be closed by her, let the door be, and then verb 3, closed by, and the first subject becomes object, means we write her, same. If the optative sentence is there, generally beginning from may, like may God help you, may plus subject plus verb plus object pattern, we follow this like this. May, we begin from the same model auxiliary may. Then you is object, so object is brought to the position of subject. May you. Then we write, in place of verb 1, we write be plus verb 3, be helped. May you be helped. May you defeat your rivals. Second example. May your rivals be defeated. Because your rivals is object. May your rivals, may plus object first, and then be plus verb 3. So follow this rule. Dear students, I have tried to cover different types of sentences, plus in terms of tenses also, how we can change different sentences into passive voice. This class might not be enough for you to understand voice in detail. In upcoming class, means in next class, we shall discuss, we can practice more exercises. At the same time, we will be doing the exercises, voice exercises given on page number 111 in your textbook. For that, you have to wait in next period also. In the next class, we shall do that. And in the note section, I have tried to include here the preposition without by. Sometimes, mostly we write by plus agent, by plus subject, we have told. But here, some verbs are there which do not need by, but we use either with or in or to or at, like this: satisfy, please, cover, fill, with. For example, I am pleased with you. He was pleased with me. After pleased, we use with, not pleased by me. And contain interest in. He is interested in football. Marry, no, obliged to. He was married to Sita. Like this, married to, not married by Sita. Surprise, shock, at. With these verbs, we use at. So this much for today. Hope you were not bored, or you didn't get bored. In the next class, we shall see. So have a good day. Namaste.